In truth, the charge made by neoliberalism that classical economics forgets labor and has never subjected it to economic analysis may seem strange when we think that, even if it is true that Ricardo entirely reduced the analysis of labor to the analysis of the quantitative variable of time, on the other hand, there was someone called Marx who, and so on, fine. The neoliberals practically never argue with Marx for reasons that we may think are to do with economic snobbery. It's not important. But if they took the trouble to argue with Marx, I think it is quite easy to see. It's quite easy to see what they could say about his analysis. They would say, it is quite true that Marx makes labor the linchpin, one of the essential linchpins of his analysis. But what does he do when he analyzes labor? What is it that he shows the worker sells? Not his labor, but his labor power. He sells his labor power for a certain time against a wage established on the basis of a given situation, of the market corresponding to the balance between the supply and demand of labor power, and the work performed by the worker is work that creates a value, part of which is extorted from him. Marx clearly sees in this process the very mechanics or logic of capitalism. And in what does this logic consist of? And in what does this logic consist? Well, it consists in the fact that the labor in all this is abstract. That is to say, the concrete labor transformed into labor power, measured by time, put on the market, and paid by wages, is not concrete labor. It is labor that has been cut off from its human reality. It's labor that's been cut off from its human reality, from all its qualitative variables. And precisely, this is indeed, in fact, what Marx shows. The logic of capital reduces labor to labor, power, and time. It makes it a commodity and reduces it to the effects of value produced.